For most of history, this little thing, a single round pearl, was one of the most valuable objects on Earth. Rarer than diamonds, worth a fortune. Kings went broke for them. And then one man figured out how to make them on purpose and crashed the whole thing. This is the story of how pearls went from priceless to pocket change. Let's start with why pearls were ever such a big deal. A natural pearl is basically an accident. A tiny irritant, a grain of sand, a parasite, slips inside an oyster, and to protect itself, the oyster slowly coats it, layer after layer, in the same shimmering material that lines its shell. The catch? It almost never happens. Divers had to haul up thousands of wild oysters just to find one decent pearl. No farming, no shortcuts. Pure luck from the bottom of the sea. So pearls were the ultimate flex. For thousands of years, they sat on crowns and around the necks of emperors. A single perfect natural pearl could be worth more than a palace. Entire economies, like the pearl diving fleets of the Persian Gulf, ran on them. If you wanted to show the world you were untouchably rich, you wore pearls. Then came a man named Kokichi Mikimoto. He wasn't royalty. He was the son of a noodle-shop owner in Japan. And he had one stubborn obsession. What if you didn't have to wait for the ocean to get lucky? What if you could convince an oyster to make a pearl on demand? So he experimented. For years, he learned the trick nature did by accident and did it on purpose. He gently slipped a tiny nucleus inside the oyster, and the oyster did exactly what it always does. It wrapped the intruder in layer after layer of nacre. The result, after a few years in the water, was a real pearl. Same shimmer, same material, just planned. In the 1890s, he grew his first cultured pearls, and by the early 1900s, he'd cracked the hard part, perfectly round ones. And this is where the empire starts to crack, because Mikimoto didn't make one pearl, he made farms, thousands of oysters, all seeded, all quietly building pearls at the same time. For the first time in history, pearls could be mass-produced. And the moment you can mass-produce something that was valuable only because it was rare, the rarity is gone. As Mikimoto's pearls flooded the world, the price didn't dip, it collapsed. The symbol of unreachable wealth became something an ordinary person could afford. The ancient pearl diving industry that had run for centuries was wiped out within a couple of generations. Now, the old pearl dealers did not take this quietly. They were furious. They fought back the obvious way by calling Mikimoto's pearls fakes, imitations, not the real thing. The fight ended up in court, and the experts examined the cultured pearls and delivered the verdict that sealed it. They were real. Genuine pearls, real nacre grown by a real oyster. The only difference was that a human had nudged it into starting. Legally and scientifically, a cultured pearl was a pearl. The dealers have lost. So here's the part that really stings. Mikimoto didn't fake anything. He didn't cheat. He just removed the one thing that made pearls precious. The luck. And the second pearls became reliable, they stopped being treasure and started being jewelry. But there's a final twist, and it's a beautiful one. Today, almost every pearl you will ever see on a ring, in a shop, around someone's neck, is cultured, farmed, which means the genuinely rare thing now is a natural pearl. The accidental kind, the ones that still form by pure chance in the wild, have become so uncommon that they're some of the most expensive gems on the planet all over again. The man who made pearls common made the original priceless again. So a pearl isn't worth a fortune because it's beautiful. It's worth whatever it is because of how hard it is to get. And the man who proved that wasn't a king or a jeweler. He was a noodle seller's son who simply outweighted the ocean. And the strangest part? One of the most valuable pearls ever found wasn't discovered as a treasure at all. It spent years hidden under a fisherman's bed as a good luck charm. But that is a whole other episode.